Hello and welcome to the first official YouTube video of Triggered Happy 10. Here I am interviewing the famous comic book artist Bryan Hitch. Mr. Hitch, how did you first get into comics to become the man you are today?
Well, it all started in the 1970s when films like Star Wars and Superman the movie first came out, and as much as I wasn't really a Star Wars fan, I was a huge Superman the movie fan, and there was a little newsagent next door to the cinema which just sold DC comics only, not Marvel. It was the only shop in town that sold superhero comics. It was just a stack that big at the beginning of every month, and I would just spend as much of my pocket money as I could going through them week after week after week until I'd bought all of them. And this happened month after month after month. I think I was the only one buying them, but I would read them and read them and read them, and I would copy from them, just whether it's figures or whole pages or scenes or even a whole issue sometimes. It would just be all I wanted to do, and probably for as far back as being about 7 or 8 years old, I think it's all I've ever wanted to do for a job as well, was to draw comic books. So when I was 16, I was waiting for my O-level GCSE results. I sent some samples to Marvel's UK office in London. They were there and they were doing comics based on toy lines like Action Man and G.I. Joe and Transformers and Thundercats, things like that. And I sent some samples that I'd drawn, and they gave me a 10-page story to draw on the spot. And then when I finished that, they gave me another one. And since I was waiting to go to art college when I was 17, I ended up drawing comics professionally before I was actually old enough to go to art college. So I ended up not going to art college and just carried on drawing comics. I've been doing it now for, well, nearly 31 years.
Please tell us about your family and interests.
Well, it's a pretty big family. We've got my wife and I. We have 5 boys. The oldest is Josh, who's 23, and he's in Australia at the moment. We've got Ollie, who's almost 20 now. He'll be 20 in a couple of months. And he's just left school. And we've got Will, who is our resident tech support, who's computer mad and into music, and he'll be 15 in a couple of months. And then we have Ted, who's going to be 11 next birthday, and he's got lots of interests. I mean, he used to be into parkour, but he hasn't been to parkour for a while. Now he's learning the drums, so he makes as much noise as possible. And our youngest is Bertie, who's just turned 8, and he's train mad. So everything's trains. And as far as my own interests go, I mean, outside of reading, drawing, comics, I really love playing the piano and learning lots of new music there. We've got a drone, a camera drone that we like to fly around. We're still learning how to fly it properly because it's a very advanced piece of kit, and even on beginner's mode it's pretty tricky to fly, but it's pretty good when you get it right. Anyway, I'm so busy between family and work that I don't actually have time for a lot of hobbies. So most of the time when I'm not thinking about drawing or writing stories or watching Netflix box sets, I'm playing the piano.
What's your favourite character to draw and why?
Well, my favourite character in comics is probably Superman, because that's what started off the whole interest, both in drawing comics and also a love of movies as well, because the two went hand in hand in the 70s. But actually, the one I'm finding the most fun to draw is Batman, and I've wanted to draw Batman as a character for probably since I was 7 or 8 years old, and I never actually got to draw Batman just as Batman. I'd drawn him in the Justice League and Justice League of America, but it works slightly differently when you've got Batman with all the other superheroes. You don't get to do the Batman skulking around Gotham and driving the Batmobile and swinging from building to building and do all the work with shadows and nighttime settings and things like that. But on his own, you really get to do all that stuff, and that's enormous fun. And I actually hadn't realised how much fun drawing Batman was going to be until I sat down and drew that first issue. And it's possibly the best work I've done in years, but it's also the most fun I've had in years.
How long does it take to finish a page of artwork?
Honestly, depends on what's on it. I've spent most of my career drawing team books or group books like X-Men, Avengers, Justice League, Fantastic Four, and that means that in every shot you're drawing several characters, say anywhere up to 7 or 8 characters sometimes in every shot. And those pages take a while because I put a lot of detail into the background as well as all the figures. But recently, since I did Hawkman and I'm doing Batman, they're single characters, and actually the pages take a lot less time to draw because even though they're still detailed, there's only really usually one figure in each shot, and that makes it much quicker to draw. So, I mean, their pages can take anywhere from a few hours to a day and a half, depending on what's on them.
What character haven't you drawn that you would really want to?
It's a good question, actually. There's quite a few. Spider-Man is one of them. Conan the Barbarian is another. At DC, really Superman properly. I've drawn Superman in Justice League and Justice League of America, and the odd short story I'll cover here and there. But I've never actually drawn, a whole series with Superman just on his own. So I'd really like to do that. But I've drawn a lot of characters over the years, so it's kind of quirky things that I haven't had a chance to play with that I kind of would like to do. But most of the time, it's the big cool ones like Superman and Spider-Man.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Hitch. I greatly appreciate it, and have a good day.